I'm not teaching, I'm publicly learning. But hi and welcome to Learning for the Life in the UK test, part 74, the Tudors and Stuarts, and we're trying just to answer the questions which are asked at the end of the chapter of the Tudors and Stuarts. And we are just trying to find out about how and why religion changed during this period. And we are just trying to find out who followed James VI and James I on the throne. I have a suspicion of Charles I, but we want to find it. While doing medial plane training, and if you participate in the medial plane training, that's the job. His son Charles I. So after James I followed his son Charles I. When Charles I was a Protestant as well as Charles II, but Charles I, that has not so much with religion to do. So Charles I, then Charles II, also Protestant, and after Charles II, we followed Oliver Cromwell as the Lord Protector. We don't know that much about the religion. He was not really into that. After the Lord Protector, Oliver Cromwell followed Richard, but he was not that much liked, and after 11 years, Charles II was re-invited. He had fled after the battles of Dunbar and Worcester, where he had lost, and he fled over while hiding on his flea one time in an oak tree to Europe. He was then invited back from the Netherlands. And why did Charles II fall in? He never fell in, what is it called? In disfavor of the parliament. He just was, his father was executed by the parliamentary army, and he was crowned by the Scots, and then he invaded England. So he did not really have a dispute with the parliament. He understood that he could not always do as he wished, but would sometimes need to reach agreement. Do we have anything about religion? I think he was Protestantic. Now after him, because he was kingless, his brother, yes, he was Protestantic. After him, his brother James II and James VII became king, and he was Catholic. And he had two Protestantic daughters, Mary, one of them, the oldest, and his wife had a son. And because they feared now that the next monarch would be Catholic, they invited the husband of the eldest daughter, Mary of him, who was the king of Netherlands and Protestantic, in. He came in the Glorious Revolution. And there was an uprising in Ireland. No, the other way around. James, who had fled, who was Catholic, had come with a French army to conquer Ireland. But William, who was the one of Netherlands, won against him at the Battle of Boyne in 1690. And now James was no longer king. He fled back to the Netherlands and back to France. He fled to France. Netherlands would not make sense, as I said. And many restrictions were placed on the Roman Catholic Church in Ireland. The Irish Catholics were unable to take part in the government. But that was just the answer to the question which monarch was reigning and what religion held away. That is not the answer to the question how all the religion happened in England. We have the same motivate. Let's start with the medial plane training. We're going down. And again down, and we're breathing in. And out. Again in. And out. And the last time. In. Out. Now close the legs. And let's start with the first exercise. Let's make a few in a row. The leg comes up, right angle with the leg, flex foot, even line hips, taller with the back. And we're pressing with the hand against the top of the knee. We're doing this with quite a lot of effort. We're having a little bend in the elbow. Right angle with the leg, flex foot, even line hips, taller with the back. Right angle with the leg, right angle with the, no, not right angle. A little bend in the elbow, right angle with the leg. And we're switching to the other side. Leg up. Right angle with the leg, flexed foot, even aligned hips, taller with the back, and press on the top of the hand. Have a little bend in the elbow, put effort into Even aligned hips, tall up at the back, put effort into it. A little longer. And over to the next exercise. The leg again up, right angle of the leg, flex forward, even aligned hips, tall up the back. Now we're pressing against the inside. And right angle of the leg, flexed foot, even aligned hips, tall up the back, a little bend in the elbow. And put effort into it. A little longer. And we're changing to the other side. Right angles of the leg, flex foot, even aligned hips, tall up the back, and a little bend in the elbow of the arm with which you're pressing with effort against it. Even aligned hips, tall up the back, put effort into it. A little longer. Even aligned hips, tall up the back, and we're done. And let's do directly another one. The leg up, right angle of the leg, flex foot, even aligned hips, tall up the back, and there. Now the knee presses up to the side, up to the side. A few more, the knee presses up to the side, even aligned hips, tall up the back. And with your other leg. Right angle of the leg, flex foot, even aligned hips, tall up the back. The knee presses up to the side, up to the side. Few more, up to the side, even aligned hips, tall up at the back. And I think we have just one exercise left that we're going to do then in a moment. Okay, what happened? That's pretty complicated. So, where do we find it out? In Ireland, however, attempts by the English to impose Protestantism led to rebellion from the Irish. Scotland had been strongly influenced by Protestant ideas. In 1560, the predominantly Protestant Scottish Parliament abolished the authority of the Pope in Scotland. A Protestant Church of Scotland with an elected leadership was established, but unlike in England, this was not a state church. During this period, the Elizabethan period, Ireland was an almost completely Catholic country. Henry VII and Henry VIII had established English control over the whole country. Henry VIII took the title King of Ireland. During the reigns of Elizabeth I and James I, many people in Ireland opposed rule by the Protestant government in England. There were a number of rebellions. The English government encouraged Scottish and English Protestants to settle in Ulster, the northern province of Ireland, taking over the land from Catholic landholders. James later organized similar plantations in several other parts of Ireland. Charles I tried to introduce a revisited prayer book onto the Presbyterian Church in Scotland, which led to serious unrest. Cromwell was successful in establishing the authority. Cromwell was sent to Ireland, where the revolt, which had begun in 1641, still continued. James II, favored Roman Catholics. James the Catholic King favored Roman Catholics and allowed them to be army officers, which an Act of Parliament had forbidden. Yes, absolutely. Many restrictions were placed on the Roman Catholic Church in Ireland, and Irish Catholics were unable to take part in the government. The support for James in Scotland was quickly defeated by the Battle of Kellicott, and all Scottish clans were required formally to accept William as king by an oath. And the supporters of James became the Jacobites. How and why religion changed during this period? Let's say more or less. The importance of poetry and drama in the Elizabethan period. Let's do that after we have done the last two exercises. So we bring the last exercise. We're bringing one leg up, the right angle of the leg, flexed foot, even lined hips, tall up the back, and we're pressing the hand against the outside of the knee. With a little bend in the elbow. And we're opening slowly the leg. That is the heavy swing door. Again into the middle. And we're going to do it 3 times. Slowly to the outside. Put effort into it. Tall up with the back, even like this, and third and final. Tall up with the back, even like hips, and shoulder. Now with the other leg, the leg up, right angle with the leg, flex foot, even aligned hips, tall up with the back, little bend in the elbow, pressing against the knee, opening slowly. Closing again slowly. Tall up with the back, even aligned hips, and the second time. And the third time. Tall up with the back, even aligned hips, tall up with the back, and put effort into it. And come back down. So, poetry and drama, I think that it was written by Geoffrey Chaucer by around 1400, but it's a part of the Tudors and Stuarts, so I mean William Shakespeare. That William Shakespeare was important. Well, the quotes are still there, for example, once more unto the breach out of Henry V, or to be or not to be out of Hamlet, or out of As You Like It, all the world's a stage, or what's on the 18th shall I compare me to a summer's day, the darling buds of May, or out of Romeo and Juliet, Rose Upon Another Name. And he's also known for Macbeth and The Midsummer Night's Dream, apart from what I just called, named Hamlet and Macbeth, Midsummer Night's Dream, and Romeo and Juliet. He was born in Stratford-upon-Avon, and he had written plays. He was an actor. The Globe Theatre is a rebuilding of what the theatre looked at the time in which it was performed. Did we say something about science? No, it's just poem and drama, I think. So Isaac Newton is not asked for. And he had works about real royalties, so real royals and kings, but he had also written about ordinary men and women. He dramatized. And I think that's pretty much do we have anything more to that question? So I think that is more or less the answer to the second question. Let's do Isaac Newton. So William Shakespeare was born 1564 and lived until 1616, and so Isaac Newton was born in 1564 and lived until 1727. No, he lived longer, 1546 or something, until 1770. We just got older, so the person was bigger, smaller. And he wrote, for example, the book Mathematical Principles of Natural Philosophy, and in that he just describing gravity. He also discovered that the white light had the colors of the rainbow, and he was born in Lincolnshire. We know about this Lincoln Cathedral. That is one of the buildings which changed as an architectural type around 1400. And other things built were, for example, Windsor Castle and Edinburgh Castle. And I don't know if you know much more about Isaac Newton. We know that he was part of a Royal Society founded by Charles II, the oldest still existing Society of Science. And another person in there was William Henley. And he predicted successfully the return of the, when after him, called Henley Comet. And we have 20 seconds left. I guess that's more or less the question. We have more or less the knowledge we have to answer the question. It is not really an answer to a question, to be honest, but it are mostly, maybe I skipped 2 3 things, mostly all the information we have to answer the question. So thank you very much, and until the next part.